My name is Norman Fulkerson, and I am the author of An American Night, The Life of Colonel John Ripley. A legend is born. To drop dead is honorable in the pursuit of duty, whereas to quit is the highest form of dishonor. Colonel John Ripley. Captain Ripley's tenacity was nowhere more apparent than during a battle that occurred on March 2nd, 1967. It was a day he earned legendary status. The conflict began at 7 a.m. when Lima Company was assaulted by a sniper who they quickly dispatched. Moments later, one of his men captured a sentry with a sophisticated radio equipped with a knee key. The radio's complexity was a bad omen of things to come. After investigating the scene further, Captain Ripley realized that they had stumbled into an extensive base camp of a battalion-level unit. Their arrival caused the NBA to flee. Moments later, when all hell broke loose, they found out the enemy had not traveled far. They were hit with everything from automatic weapons and small arms to grenades and mortars. When Captain Ripley gave the order to fix bayonets, the men of Lima Company knew that their situation was serious. Corporal Jerry Larson was fighting alongside Captain Ripley, and after being shot in both legs, Larson refused to lie down and in an act of defiance forced himself into a sitting position. He then stuck spent cartridges into the holes in his legs to prevent further loss of blood, which enabled him to fight on. Through it all, Captain Ripley remained calm in spite of the death and carnage that surrounded him. One scene Ripley witnessed was that of a fellow Marine lying in a foxhole next to his dead friend whose face had been blown off. The shell-shocked Marine kept fighting the enemy, but the signs of stress were evident when he was seen patting his dead comrade on the shoulder, reassuring him that help was on the way. As the casualties mounted, a helicopter arrived on the scene with veteran Brigadier General Michael Patrick Ryan aboard. He earned the Navy Cross during the Battle of Tarawa in World War II, and he was showing equal courage attempting to drop medical supplies for the wounded. With the amount of fire they were receiving, Captain Ripley waved them off, knowing that it was foolhardy to attempt a medical drop. Crew members on board the helicopter frantically kicked the much-needed packages of medical supplies out the door. As the aircraft began to pull away, a mortar hit one of the boxes and exploded. Shrapnel tore through the air and several people, including Captain Ripley, were injured. The impact threw him and his radio operator airborne. I'll never forget the sensation of being blown through the air and looking over at my operator who was 180 degrees inverted, he said. His feet were straight up, his head was straight down. He still had his headset in his ear. Captain Ripley came down hard on the muzzle of his gun and broke some ribs. In spite of his injuries, he refused to leave his men and fought on. Things became progressively worse, he said later, but we fought on harder and harder, knowing we would prevail at the end of the day, although it wasn't immediately apparent how. With such a display of courage and leadership, members of the media with TV crews and cameramen arrived on the scene, anxious to capture some of the action. Moline, Colonel Ripley's wife, saw news of her husband on television back in Blacksburg, Virginia, and it wasn't long before the coverage of his exploits made it to print media. 2 weeks after the March 2nd battle, a member of Lima Company received a news clipping from home telling about the deeds of a group of Marines they appropriately dubbed Ripley's Raiders. The men of Lima Company latched onto the name and a legend was born.